Hi everyone, thank you so much for tuning in. This video is appropriate for anyone that wants to find out more about the lighter side of OCD. So I want to start out by telling a few jokes. I don't know if you have any younger people in your lives that like to tell knock-knock jokes. So I'm going to tell you all a few jokes and connected to the lighter side of OCD. So the first joke is a light bulb joke. How many cancer patients does it take to screw in a light bulb? Any guesses? The answer is none, because they're all too weak to climb the ladder. Okay, here's another one. A husband and a wife go to the doctor's office because the wife is ill. The doctor says to the husband and wife, "Sir, I'm sorry to report your wife either has Alzheimer's disease or HIV." "Doctor," the husband says, "I don't understand. What am I supposed to do?" The doctor says to the husband, "Take your wife and drop her off 10 miles from the house. If she finds her way back to the house, don't have sex with her." Okay, last one. What do you tell a woman with 2 black eyes? Any final guesses? Nothing, because you've already told her twice. First, I want to start out by apologizing, because I know that those jokes were really inappropriate. They weren't funny at all. And I want to thank you for continuing to watch, because I know that I told some really insensitive jokes about domestic violence, cancer, HIV, and Alzheimer's. And depending on your experiences in life, you've maybe encountered a loved one that has maybe experienced some of those things. Individuals with OCD also struggle with the lighter side of OCD. They don't really find OCD jokes funny at all, especially when it comes from someone that doesn't really have OCD or that's just making fun of it. The thing is, we all slip up. It's not uncommon for us to have blunders and say insensitive things. Even as a therapist that's been working in the mental health field for years and years and years, I've made insensitive jokes. I remember a time when I lived and worked in Dominican Republic, and I brought in volunteers to build houses for people living in rural communities who weren't able to afford homes. And so these volunteers were building homes through Habitat for Humanity, and we were around the dinner table, and 2 of my volunteers noticed what I had been eating, and they said, "Oh my goodness, Erin, I'm so sorry. You have this gluten allergy. How do you deal with that? That must be so difficult, and I'm sure traveling and living abroad makes it even more difficult." And I responded, "Well, I mean, it's not like I have cancer or anything." Immediately, I noticed that I said something really inappropriate, because their faces dropped, and they said, "Oh, yeah, our mom is actually battling with breast cancer right now." And it wasn't a great feeling for me, and I apologized. So, none of us are exempt, right? Recently, at an OCD conference, I was standing in line in the women's restroom, and 2 women standing next to me, because, how it is, ladies. The line is usually wrapped around the entrance. Well, these 2 women said to me, "Oh, what are you here for?" And I said, "Well, I'm here for an OCD conference." "Oh my goodness," they exclaimed. "That is so cool. I swear I have OCD because I do this and I do that and I do this." Immediately I was mortified because I wondered who was in the stalls listening to this, because it was a conference for treatment providers but also for individuals living with OCD, and I wondered what they thought about these two women lightly joking about having OCD. We all make thoughtless comments, but it's about having a sense of awareness, being open to correction without having a chip on your shoulder, and having a willingness to educate yourself and a willingness to apologize. But unfortunately, we live in a world where we have people hiding behind computer screens, and you hear people saying, "I'm so sick of having to be politically correct. Why do I have to censor everything I say? So what if I want to say that's so gay or that's so retarded or tell a black joke? It's just that, a joke. Besides, freedom of speech. So what if I want to refer to all Spanish-speaking people as Mexicans rather than saying Hispanic or Latino, or even better yet, asking how they prefer to be referenced?" So some might challenge those people back by saying, well, why does my race or my sexuality or my health condition have to be at the expense of your preferred humor? Why do you find my challenging lived experiences that are very different from yours funny? People with OCD don't like being the butt of someone's joke. You hear people saying, "Oh my goodness, I think I left the stove on and now I have to go check it. I'm so OCD." Or, "Oh my goodness, you don't like your peas and your chicken to touch on your plate. You're so OCD." Back around Christmas time, I think it was this past Christmas, Target caught some heat because they printed these t-shirts that said OCD, Obsessive Christmas Disorder, for people that are fanatic about decorating around the holidays. And the OCD community was reasonably upset about it. The reality is that OCD isn't just a funny quirk. It's not a joke. It's not cool. The OCD that I know as a therapist that treats OCD is seeing my clients very anxious and balled up in the middle of my floor in a fetal position because they're really afraid of reading the Bible because they have religious scrupulosity OCD. The OCD that I know is the surgeon who is tormented at work because of having to recount his equipment over and over and over and over because he's afraid that he's accidentally left some equipment inside of a patient while performing surgery, and he's so scared about killing a patient or being sued or losing his license. The OCD that I know is the individual who was so afraid of their home being contaminated that they slept in the car with their pet for weeks at a time and just couldn't function in their home or even at work. OCD isn't funny. It's really scary for individuals that have the diagnosis. It impacts their relationships. It sometimes impairs their ability to function in some really important ways. So the next time that you're at Thanksgiving dinner and you're with your family member and they want to say that something's so gay or so retarded, or they want to tell an Asian joke, or they want to say, oh my goodness, you're so OCD, I invite you to say something like, ouch. And I guarantee you that by saying ouch, you'll pique the curiosity of your family member, and they'll say, what do you mean, ouch? What happened? And that'll be your perfect segue into educating your family member about how their words likely cut deeper than they could ever imagine. So I hope you enjoyed the video. If so, feel free to subscribe to the channel. Feel free to give me a like. And also feel free to comment on any thoughts that you have about the video or any other content that you'd like to see about OCD.